I'm Malcolm Van Delst, and this is an excerpt from the Low Self-Esteem Reading Room, aka Loser, a deliberately nonlinear, genre-defying text that explores feminine gatherer as opposed to hunter, holistic as opposed to specialized and goal-oriented life experience. From the forward, if you have nothing to lose, but also nothing to gain because you will never matter, your life becomes open for experimentation. You can write, sing, act, draw, dance, knowing none of it matters. In doing so, you realize that achievement is chimera. The women, slaves, and exploited, these people are never counted among heroes, yet without them, the heroes don't exist. Heroes are thieves. Don't be a hero. The first part of Loser ends with Kyle deciding to finish his novella without his brother's input. Then it continues with a section called Darlings I Cannot Kill, approximately 5,000 words of prose poems on dark themes. Last week, we learned about madness, cowardice, and heroes. This week, we're going right through to the end of the book. So from Darlings I Cannot Kill, part 2 in Low Self-Esteem Reading Room, Dark Basil. This is where things really take off. I've been on shamanistic journeys of the kind Lily Bart would never imagine. No one to impress, no social ladder to climb, no opinions to appease, just me. Did you know that there is no need for books, writing implements, or even musical instruments to entertain yourself? To really entertain yourself, like to host a dinner party for yourself, write yourself a movie, or sing yourself a song. To fly, to visit fantastical countries and meet fantastical people and beings. Tonight, for example, a few feet from my room, I met these tiny insects that grow on the basil in the garden beside the dining lanai. These insects, almost like little heads pushing up out of the leaves, 30 to 40 of them per leaf, living around the base of the leaves where they attach to the stem, sang. Their song was the sweetest, kindest, most selfless and brave. Did I mention? Yes, I mentioned kind. Did I mention that they were singing for me? That they didn't appear just for anyone and sing for anyone. They sang only for me. They loved me so much that they sang and sang and sang. Their song was like a joyful lullaby. I floated up on it and flew, weightless, miles above the ground. I turned somersaults and cartwheels. I dove and banked like an eagle. I glided across waves of love. I've never experienced such admiration in my whole life. A vast outpouring of warmth and concern for me. I was carried, rolled, manipulated, and tossed about, but for my enjoyment, not the basil insects. Well, that's the weird thing. The sweetly singing insects enjoyed watching my pleasure, feeling my pleasure. Flying, it turns out, is just as much about being carried as it is about doing. Gold. The world is warm, comfortable, and filled with unreasonable joy. I am warm from the inside out, physically, and my heart sings. My head may be a little muddled, but this is good. I've been working very hard so that for the next 4 days, I can do nothing if I choose. I may ski, snowshoe, or sit in the lodge working and writing. I could write for 4 days. The air outside will be silvery white and sparkling. Snow and clouds in absolute clarity, muddled only by the laughter and rambunctiousness of skiers. Blue-green. Now I'm swimming in clear blue-green water surrounded by schools of fish half the size of my smallest finger and half the thickness. Colorful, neon-striped fish, the kind you see in aquariums, but plainer, brownish fish too. The plain ones are humble, solemn, and wise. I mean, you can tell that if you could talk to them, they'd have lots to say. They are lookers, not actors. Thinkers and artists, not the silly, popular kind of artist, but the kind it takes time to know and appreciate. These brown fish are not working it. They understand how the world is organized, but value honesty. White lies annoy them, though they tolerate them as lubrication for social structure. They are happy in the shadows. They like to observe. Yes, I am a human being in a wetsuit, sleek and kitted for swimming, disguised, shape-shifted. And a small brown fish stops directly in front of me, about 9 inches from my face. She hovers there, looking me in the eye. I realize that if we both used the same way to communicate, the same language, we'd be able to speak, or whatever the fish word for speak is. Even though she is small and her eyes can't be any deeper than a couple millimeters, they appear bottomless. It's as if I could get out of my body and become vision, pure and untainted, I could enter her via her eyes and discover a world of things and concepts I can't even imagine, and that the discovering would never end. And if she became vision, pure and untainted, and entered my eyes, she'd experience the same thing. We'd understand each other, not merely be able to communicate, but completely know each other, what concerned us, what made us happy, and how we believed the world to be organized. We'd see how each of us differed from other members of our species, the knowledge, beliefs, and ways of learning that set us apart from the other small brown fishes or sleek, kitted humans. Our expanded vision and selves would have no use for words or petty fights over food, territory, mates, or respect. We'd understand that we were not only the same, but the same thing. She knew it, I knew it, as we floated there, looking into each other's eyes. White. Transmute, metamorphose, change, intrinsically alter, mutate. Everything metamorphoses experience. I type these words and remember the experience in a way quite different from the actual doing of it. I'll probably forget the annoying barking of my landlord's dog, for example. Writing down an experience transforms it. Two people experience the same event in different ways, even if the event is as mundane as a conversation about when to meet to go over taxes. Each life form takes in the experience and recreates it in their consciousness, their memory, in a unique way. I may remember the footsteps of my landlord overhead, the sound of my laptop's fan, and the sound of my fingers typing. Someone else in the exact same spot as me, typing on the exact same machine, may remember the yellowish light from the incandescent bulb illuminating the corner I'm in, giving the wooden table more warmth of color than if they turned that light bulb off and opened the window shades behind them or me. Some would remember the white lines across the patio doors to opened Venetian blinds. Some, the man on the couch, also typing on a laptop, though his is white. Some will recall me asking the man to make me a sparkling beverage and remember that that prompted the man to leave the couch and pull raspberry juice and carbonated water from the fridge. Memory and unique consciousness are also transmutable. Drugs, other life forms, setting or location, hunger or satiation, all affect the way we experience anything. Consciousness is also composed of mood, temperament, past experiences, and even the life forms around the life form. I know that we do not like to think that other life forms, most especially other humans, affect how we experience and remember events in our lives, but they do. Imagine being in an empty, entirely white square room. Now imagine another life form appears. Your imagined consciousness just changed. It would change even if you imagined another thing in the space with you, a white 12-inch by 12-inch square structure or a white 6-inch diameter sphere. We are all affected, our consciousness and thus the actual fiber of our being, by everything around us. The concept of identity becomes fluid when we realize this. The concept of having a solid personality or character becomes pointless. How can we ever own who we are or what we think? Why do we invest so much in controlling and expressing this perceived character when it is pretty much impossible to nail down? It also becomes apparent that we really are all connected. Pearl, an attractive color, not quite white, certainly not brilliant, but solid and deeply gleaming. A pearl refracts light into a million tiny directions instead of in blinding beams. A pearl keeps some for itself. The end.